Welcome to the Ultimate Intimacy Podcast with Amy and Nick. Did I do that right?
Oh, that was so much better.
Nick
You
told me I
you
had to
got
open today. I was like, what? You're so good at
you
it.
got the job. You're hired.
Nah, no, you're better. Today is on 10 ways an intimateless marriage negatively impacts a wife. The husbands are next, right?
Yeah.
This is impacts a wife. So at first, Nick had 10 ways a sexless marriage impacts a wife. And although there is quite a few higher drive wives that are being rejected like crazy, I wanted to change it to intimately because so many wives are rejected emotionally. And so I feel between the two, it'll cover most women that are feeling some sort of rejection.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we will talk about, the sexual and the emotional, but we only have about 15% of our audience that say they're higher drive wives. But there's a lot that say they're missing that emotional connection in their marriage.
Well,
So,
well, and I feel like you tell me from a woman's standpoint, I feel like if a woman is rejected sexually, like it impacts so many
yes.
more things in the relationship than just the sex, right?
Right,
Like,
because if she's a higher drive spouse and she needs that, like whatever, I mean, we know like the five main reasons that a wife would be higher drive than a husband, right? I don't think we need to get into that. We've already talked about that before, but when a husband is constantly rejecting her sexually, it's not just a physical thing. It's 100% going to make her feel emotionally
well,
rejected, undesired, just like a man, right? But
well,
emotional is so big for women.
and typically men are romantic and they're driven to do things and provide the emotional intimacy because they have that sexual drive,
Right,
right? Like
right.
Amy jokes around all the time. Oh, I can tell what it's day four. Nick just mowed the lawn 6 times, cleaned the windows, did this.
Mowed the lawn 6 times. That was a horrible example. I
Yeah,
don't care if you mow
people
the
know what I'm
lawn.
saying. Um, but we as men are driven to be better and provide more emotional intimacy because of that sexual drive. So
Right.
if that sexual drive is gone, we don't really need we feel like, oh, why do I need to do this? Like it
Well, just naturally, though.
naturally, yeah.
Naturally, you're going to cut back on the emotional intimacy for her if you don't need anything, right?
Correct. Yep.
Right.
And so I think women are impacted a lot of different ways. We feel really bad because that, again, the emotional intimacy is probably not going to be there.
Right.
Just they're going to feel very alone. And men do as well. We'll cover that in the men's episode, but
Right. Right. This is all about the women. Like we know any man that's listening, he's like, "Well, I'm going to be rejected." We get that.
we
We
get that.
we will talk about you in
Next
the next episode.
episode is for you. So just
But
be a
maybe
little
I do.
patient.
Maybe I do need to clarify. For a lot, the top reasons that a husband is the lower drive spouse or sexually rejects his wife is usually due to too high of stress, maybe work or something going on, a health issue,
Yeah.
ED, an embarrassment in that area, porn addiction, Rex, all that. What am I missing? There's a list, right?
Yeah. And I think from
There's a
some,
lot of things that'll make a wife become the higher drive
yeah, for
spouse,
sure.
right? So, okay, so we took a poll. We asked, what do you think is the biggest reason that intimacy fades in marriage? 34% said lack of connection. 34% said too much stress and busyness in life. 28% said poor communication. And 3% says, I'll answer below. I have a longer answer than that. And that's what we're going to get into today.
Yeah, and I would say adding to your list, I wasn't thinking this till you just said this, but poor communication. I think there's
Mm-hmm.
probably a lot of women that are in marriages where the husband doesn't want to make love, where the husband actually probably maybe he does, but there's bad communication, right? Maybe
Maybe,
maybe in the
maybe.
past the husband's been rejected so much he's like, I'm not even going to try anymore. And it's just, and the wife is like, man, I'd really like him, but that communication isn't there. And so there's a
Right.
big misunderstanding. They're both thinking or assuming things that aren't true. I think that happens in
That
marriage a
could
lot
happen.
too,
Mm-hmm.
making assumptions.
That could happen.
So,
I think what's sad is when I mean I do hear from quite a few wives nowadays. They're like, I wish you would talk about this side more because I'm actually the higher drive spouse. Like something And it's always like that's not healthy. That's not
No.
healthy for a man to have a low drive. It's not healthy. Like something's probably going on, right? Go get your
Which is fine.
testosterone
The
checked.
great
Check.
thing
There's
about
things
it,
you can do.
yeah, the great thing about it nowadays is there's so
There's
many things you
fixes.
can
Yeah.
do to
Mhm.
help with that, and it shouldn't be anything that's you're ashamed of or anything
Right,
like that.
right.
Like,
Whatever the
um,
situation, besides addiction, you can get help with that too. But like if it's medical or stress or those kind of things, like there is absolutely help. But I wish a lot of these husbands would recognize and wives too, because this is where we get into like a wife with a low drive, like go
yeah,
fix it, go do something about it. Maybe it's your hormones, and I know it costs lots of money and time, and you're but what I was trying to say is like, well, it doesn't affect my intimate life. If it does affect your intimate life, it's probably important to go fix that. So for the husbands that have the lower drive and they're like, well, I don't really need it. Like, it's fine. It's not affecting me. It
if
goes
it's
both ways. If
negatively
it's
impacting
affecting
your
your
wife, then it is,
spouse,
yeah,
but that's where the wife has to be like, this is impacting me. Like, I need your testosterone. I need you to have that drive because I'm not just missing the intimate time where there are a lot of wives out there that love to be intimate. There is. They're missing that. Like you said, they're missing the romance because a man usually romance and does all the like steps it up as a man because he wants to be intimate with his
for
wife.
sure.
Like that's kind of
Hmm.
healthy and normal. But when that's
That's
missing too, she's missing everything. That's heartbreaking. That's
yeah,
heartbreaking.
and I think that's as men, that's kind of how we're wired, right? Like,
Right. Right.
when we want to make love to our wife, we
We
step
kind
it
of
up in
step it up a
the
little bit.
romance and area and doing all those things, and
Which
like,
kind of bugs wives, but at the same time, that's
but
how they're wired. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the thing is like if you look at just in general, like that is the way we're wired. Whether women say that's ridiculous or whatever,
Mhm.
like that is just the way we're made. And if you can accept that and say,
Right.
you know what, I'm grateful that he's made that way because then at least he's stepping it up
He's trying to
sometimes,
be
or at least
connected
he's
to me.
trying, or
He's
he's
trying to
trying to be
be.
romantic,
Mhm.
or regardless of
Yeah.
what his reason is.
He's
I
trying to be
mean,
romantic, yeah. And when a wife doesn't get that, he's not trying to step it up. He doesn't care anymore. He's like, I don't have a drive or I don't want to make love to you, whatever. Like she's missing a lot. But I was trying to say, like, if you are the wife and you're missing this and it's wrecking you emotionally, physically, sexually, like if it's wrecking you in every way, like you have to tell him, like, this is hurting me. Like it goes both ways. Like you have to tell your spouse, like, this is hurting me. Like I need this to change, right?
hmm
And as a husband, I would hope he'd be like, okay, I need to figure out why my drive is low. And
in
I keep
fact,
thinking like the women need to do this too, but we get here
yeah,
so
well,
much is like, but it's not affecting my marriage. It don't doesn't affect me. Like we gotta care about what's affecting our
no,
spouse
and
more.
that is interesting that usually it's the lower desire spouse that has the attitude like,
I'm fine.
I don't
We're
need it.
fine.
I'm fine.
Right.
Therefore, we don't
You,
need it,
you should be
right?
fine without it, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. We could get into that. But okay. Okay, so the question is what are the other reasons that it's impacting you either emotionally or physically? Selfishness, lack of attention, not doing anything with each other, surprises, going out, otherwise not prioritizing the marriage, because this is just things that kill intimacy,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
She doesn't understand what it means to her man, menopause. Okay,
I
this
think you're in a wrong
one,
list
this might be the wrong list. Sorry, I'm trying to
because
find.
it's okay.
These are just things that kill intimacy. I don't think that just wives answered this
yeah,
survey,
because I
so
was
I'm
gonna
gonna skip
say
it.
we're
Okay, so let's just dive into the emotional effects of an intimateless marriage. Well, those are, I think, the reason we were trying to dive into like what affects your intimate life, and then why this is so important that women shouldn't have to feel like their marriage is intimateless, if you know, or emotionalless. So there's emotional effects of not having a good intimate marriage on a
oh
wife. On
man,
a wife,
it's
okay? Number one is going to be loneliness. 100%.
no question.
And husbands that feel like this, they're gonna vouch for that. Like that, nobody wants to feel lonely in their marriage.
100% agree. Yeah. I sorry,
You're gonna say something.
no, I was, and I don't want to jump ahead because I don't want to get us off track. But Amy and I were having this discussion the other night. Like, just right now, I'm definitely how do I say this? Like I'm I'm
You can
I'm
say
the
it.
physical touch guy in the relationship, and so Amy doesn't need physical touch, right?
Not a lot,
But if
no.
I were to stop that,
Hmm.
she would
I would
probably
probably turn
say, you know
into a
what,
physical touch.
I'm a physical touch person, right?
Right.
And why doesn't but the bigger thing is like if we as men are not pursuing our wife that way, I could see how women would think, am I not beautiful? Why does he not pursue me that way? He's supposed to want me
Hmm.
sexually.
Hmm.
What's wrong with me? Why does he not want me that way? And that you could see how that could have a
Absolutely.
massive impact on the wife, wondering, even if, and I'm saying this even knowing that many women maybe um at one point would say, man, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be desired. But then all of a sudden that's missing and now they want to be desired. I think that's the point
Hmm.
I'm trying to make is sometimes we don't know what we have till it's gone, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is you can see how that could have a really big negative impact. Like, why does my husband not desire me? Does he not think
Hmm.
I'm beautiful? Does he not,
Right.
what's going on?
Right. Well, well, this is going to take, I don't want to jump ahead, but when a husband stops, giving that physical touch, stops complimenting, it leads, number three, I'm jumping ahead, is low self-esteem. It leads to that because every wife that, like, her husband's just like, I don't crave you sexually anymore. Because see, the women that even the ones that have low libido that are just like, stop touching me, like, all you want is sex, like that whole situation, they still feel desired though.
Yes.
Even if they don't want it, they like my husband still craves me sexually. Like that still feels good, right?
Yeah.
Even if your libido is clear down here and you're like, I don't really want, like my husband still
At least
desire
I
and
know he's
craves
still
me.
desiring
Like
me,
if a
right?
husband's cutting off wanting to be intimate with his wife, she's absolutely going to internalize that. He doesn't find me beautiful. Like, what's wrong with my body? Like, why doesn't he love me like that? He wanted me like that at the beginning of the marriage, and now
Yep.
he doesn't. Like, both ways, right?
For
Both
sure.
ways.
For sure.
It like you just said, number two was emotional rejection, feeling unwanted, unloved, because like you already said, men are wired to step it up and give more romance and connection when they want to be intimate. If he doesn't want to be
Or
intimate
even
anymore, that
or
stops.
even talking more and having deeper conversations and
Right.
I mean,
As a wife, you're
all
just gonna feel so unloved, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
really believe, and I've said this before, that I think it's more detrimental when a husband has a low sex drive. It's more detrimental to the marriage versus when the wife has a low
Do you
sex
really
drive.
believe that?
Well, I
I think it's equally detrimental to both. I think we all, no matter how different we want to say husbands and wives are, we're literally the same. Like we might not have look at sex, most women look at sex the same way as a man, but we absolutely when it's cut off from us,
I
it's
guess what
gonna
I'm
wreck us
saying is
emotionally just like it wrecks a man.
I guess what I'm saying is maybe that wasn't the right way to say it. So let me rephrase that. Like men men are going to be so happy if all that's happening in their marriage is their wife wants to make love to them, right? I've said this before. Like
Because they automatically get that emotional connection
correct,
from
yeah.
feeling desired.
Like when your wife desires you sexually, it almost fills every other aspect of the
Okay,
marriage.
that
I
makes
guess
sense.
that's what
That
I'm
makes
trying to
sense.
say
Yeah.
is like if Amy's just making love to me, like every other aspect of our marriage,
Okay,
like
let me ask you a
I
question
feel
though.
confident and good. Whereas I think for a wife, when a husband doesn't want to make love to his wife, like it impacts every aspect of her life.
So, but are you saying that if I cut off like appreciation, I didn't really want to talk very much. Like I'm just like, we don't really need to have any conversations. But I just initiated and I'm like, okay, we can make love, and then that's all that matters. Like,
Well, I'm just saying, like in a relationship, like, okay, let's say you're desiring me and saying, hey, let's make love tonight, right? To me, that shows appreciation. Like to
okay,
me, it's
okay,
like, I don't that fills that maybe that void,
okay,
so to speak. Like let's say I have all these empty buckets, right? Like appreciation, feeling desired, the emotional connection. Like if you were making love to me all the time, even if we don't have these long conversations like we have, that would almost like still fill that bucket
okay.
because I'm like she desires me, like she's good, like
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know if that's coming across the way that I'm trying to get it across,
I think that's good. I think
but
that for a lot of men, that sexual connection
I guess what I'm
fills so many of those
yeah, I
buckets.
guess that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying is a simple sexual connection with your wife fills so many buckets where if you reverse the role, and then don't have that sexual connection, it's causing so many things for the wife.
So you're saying that as a woman, we have these buckets that are like she might have a bucket that's the sexual intimacy is not getting filled, the emotional intimacy is
The
not getting
romance
filled, the
is not
romance is not getting filled, the connection, communication is not getting filled, like the date
yeah.
nights, all of it just kind of stops. And yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
whereas a guy,
And for a woman, I could vouch that, and I don't know for sure, but like even if I had the higher drive, I would still probably need those other buckets filled.
but let's be realistic. Like as a guy, for most men, like if you're making love to us, like all the romance bucket doesn't really
Yeah,
matter. The
yeah,
this bucket,
yeah,
like we've all that's being filled by just making love to us, right?
yeah. But we're talking about the women.
No, I know. Well, I don't mean to veer. Let's go back to this.
So what you're trying to say about the women is
I believe that
it hurts them deeper
it, it can hurt them deeper. Like I don't want
because
to.
all those buckets are not being filled.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Are you saying we're high maintenance and we have way
No,
more
no, no,
buckets that
no.
need to be filled?
I don't want to put down like the importance of a wife making love to her husband because that's catastrophic, right? Like when a wife is not interested in sex and they're denying the husband, like that is awful. But and we'll get into that as well too. I think people know what I'm trying to say. Maybe you don't, but
They're like,
it
Nick's
it
going back to the man
it
side again.
impacts a lot. It impacts, I think, women so many more ways where a husband's just like, make love to me and I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Good job. Okay. Next one is resentment. If intimacy, either emotional intimacy or sexual intimacy, is missing in the marriage, resentment's gonna open up for
And as
sure.
you're hearing this, know
Frustration.
that we're going to be talking about a lot of these things in the next episode. So instead of saying, well, why aren't you talking about that for the men? We will. We'll get there.
Right. But resentment for a wife, like to feel like a dagger in your heart, like we were just saying, like he doesn't even try to be romantic because he doesn't desire me sexually. Like that's just gonna dig the hole even deeper, right? It's gonna cause the next one, which is depression. You can feel anxious. You can feel all sorts of feelings from that rejection, emotional or sexual rejection. Like it's gonna hurt.
Well,
It's gonna hurt.
and maybe it hurts a little more for the wife because society tells us, whether right or wrong, society teaches us that, oh, for men, when you get married, your wife isn't going to want to have sex. Like, right? Like
Well,
that's
they're starting to, yeah.
kind of what we hear, right? Like,
Well, I
oh,
don't think husbands hear that until after they're married.
yeah, but it's at least it's like there's enough out there to where it's not a shock that
The libido goes
the
down.
libido goes down, right? Like you hear people making jokes about it all the time. You hear people saying, "Oh, the second the ring went on, we stopped making,"
Yeah.
you hear just a lot
Yeah.
of different comments like
Yeah.
that. Whereas society tells us that the man's always going to have a sex drive and he just wants sex and this and that. So,
And now it's not true.
and now it's not true. So you put a woman in that position, she's
Yeah.
like, "What's wrong with me?" Where at least men understand or kind of have a heads up to like, oh man, it could be this way, right? Does that
And
make
that's
sense?
what hurts so bad for a lot of these women is because like nobody talks about this. I'm not me, but like they're saying, here I am being told that my husband's supposed to have this high drive and I'm supposed to be like the one that's too tired all the time, and my husband won't touch me. My husband doesn't even try to be intimate with me. He doesn't even want me in that way. Like that hurts so bad. And they're just like, nobody talks about it because it's a small crowd,
Yeah.
right? And that's where I'm always like, well, what is causing that? What is causing that? Like, has he had his testosterone checked? What kind of stress is he dealing with? Is there health conditions going on that
Is
you
he
don't? Have you
looking
gone to a doctor
is he
about
looking at
this?
porn or is he
Is
getting
there
his
an
needs
addiction
taken
you
care of?
don't know about? Like where like it's not healthy for a husband to not have a high drive. Men are created to have a high drive by God, probably so that they will be more emotional and they will be more romantic. And so it's like, okay, like you gotta go find out. And a husband, like you got the lower drive, like I already said this, like you gotta go figure out what's causing that because that's not healthy for a man. And testosterone is very important for a man. We have friends that we were having this discussion with, and he's like, my levels were so low. It was causing this too. It was causing this too. It's not just sex drive, it's like health conditions that can
Yep.
come from having too low of testosterone. I'm not a doctor, I don't know nothing about medical, but I know that it's not normal. I know that it needs to be fixed. I know that for the marriage, it needs to be fixed. Do you know what I mean? I'm hearing these wives that are just
Yeah.
falling apart and breaking down because they feel that rejection that just hurts, you know? And any husband that ever has felt that, they're like, yeah, it hurts really bad. So there's so many other mental things that can be caused by constant rejection. Like I said, anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, like those are going to start affecting your health too, because we always talk, you know, like mental is tied to your spiritual, which is tied to your physical. Like when you're a mental mess, it's making you sick. It gives you gut problems. Like our
Yeah.
bodies, our spirits, like they're so intertwined in so many different ways that when you're constantly getting rejected, it's going to affect your mood. That's going to affect how you eat. That's going to affect, it's just this whole chain reaction in your body, right?
Yeah, yeah. So for the wives out there, if you're in this situation, we totally feel for you. If you're a
Mhm.
husband that has a low drive, like Amy said, just there's a lot of things that you can do. Number one, I want to hit on that sexual intimacy doesn't have to be intercourse, right? Like
Right.
there's so many other things you can do to be intimate that doesn't have to be
Intercourse. Yeah.
intercourse. So,
Yeah. So if he's
there's
dealing with like ED or some of those kind of things,
correct.
like you
Yeah.
can take care of your wife sexually without having to have it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes that can be physical, sometimes that can be mental. I had a period, well, I won't get into it, but
Like
yeah,
what?
let's just so you can figure that out. If it's physical, there's a lot of different things that can help. I mean, there's herbal supplements, there's pills.
Doctors.
If it's, for some people, it might be a
Mhm.
fear of not being able to perform. There's a lot of things you can do there. There's intimacy aids, different things like that. Like don't let those things keep you from, the importance of connecting with your spouse.
For
And if you're a
sure.
husband that just literally doesn't have that drive for whatever reason, maybe recognize how important that is to
For her.
for
Hmm.
her exactly. And have that discussion and talk about that.
Absolutely. I'm going to just go over a couple more of these, right, that are caused. Loss of emotional safety, communication breakdown, jealousy and insecurities. When a wife is constantly rejected sexually, she's going to try and figure out why. And that might lead to jealousy. Like, was he looking at other, like her
Sure. Well, yeah,
mind is gonna start going rampage. Like,
why doesn't he
why doesn't
desire
he
me?
want me like this? Like, I can't figure it out. You gotta talk about it. You gotta talk about it. Increased conflict. It's gonna all sorts of tension in the marriage, right?
For sure.
And the physical effects are even more reduced libido. Sexual desire often decreases with emotional distance. So that would be emotionally. Let's see, sleep issues, increased stress hormones, weakened immune system, headaches, fatigue. Like I just said, like the physical is so tied to the mental. So like you're just gonna have all sorts of negative side effects with constant rejection of any kind.
Well,
So
and like we've talked about in past episodes, regardless of whether it's the wife or the husband, we really do feel like it's the lower desire spouse's responsibility to take care of the I'm not interested in sex.
if if it's negatively affecting
Yeah,
the
for sure.
relationship, yep,
For sure.
which you have to find out by talking about it. Yep.
Yeah. So, like we've said, if you're in this situation, there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of help that you can get. Recognize the impact that it's having on your relationship, and
Mhm.
have these tough discussions. Um, don't shy away from it. Don't feel like something's wrong with you. Just again, have these good open
Mhm.
discussions, and typically there's always a solution or a reason that something's happening, there's typically always a solution that can help.
And
So,
nobody signed up for non-intimate marriage, not even the women. Not even the women. Like nobody decided, like sign me up for a business relationship my whole life. Like nobody signed up for that. Like that passion, that romance, all those feelings you felt when you first got married. I think we all are like, we want that our whole life.
For sure.
It takes work and a lot of talking.
For sure.
Yep.
So, yeah, we hope you enjoyed the podcast episode. If you have any questions, email us or comments, or just want to say hi, email us at support@ultimateintimacy.com. Say, hey, Nick and Amy, how are you doing? What's going on? Check out the shop at shop.ultimateintimacy.com. Also, we have our incredible marriage retreat coming March 2026. You can get more information on that.
Awesome.
Come hang out with us for several days, have amazing food, amazing activities, and even more amazing instruction.
Yep.
It is the highlight of our year. We love doing it, and we love to meet a lot of you. So let us know if you have any questions. Appreciate you listening to the podcast as always. And until next time, we hope all of you find ultimate intimacy in your relationship.